Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to RTG TV for the third and final race of this week on the channel. And we're back for Road to Glory's GP2 tier here in Shanghai, China, for the Chinese Grand Prix. This Shanghai International Circuit has 16 corners, 2 DRS zones. It's 5.451 kilometres and 3.387 miles in length. It was first established here in 2004. We'll be running the C4 soft tyres, C3 medium tyres and C2 hard tyre compounds. And when we get into this third round, Pippa Kennedy is leading the championship after winning the first race and getting on the podium last time out in Japan. 52 points for him, 39 points for the Williams of Chuck in second, 38 points for Tiny in third, who won last week in Japan. Koitsgamer is fourth, and fifth is Ginge. The Williams are leading the championship by 3 points on 63 points, and Aston Martin are on 60 points. McLarens are on 53 points in third place. We've got 18 drivers at the moment, potentially have 19. We're supposed to have 16 full-time drivers and 3 reserve drivers. Those reserves being Robbo, Prodigy and Paul Jones. And you can see Prodigy's already retired and deciding to start from the back. The heavens are open for the entirety of this qualifying session, as we have the weather decided for us on Thursdays. And then I think we're going to a drier spell a little later on when we get into the race itself, which I think is 28 laps. And of course, back with Lee again. And to be with him on Monday as well. So I think it's the first time this season, Lee, we've done a double in a week.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, looking forward to this track. As I've not really commentated on this one recently, anyway. I don't think. I think it was a good while back. And now that I was last here, I think it was you that covered the Chinese Grand Prix last time, so on Mondays. But yeah, right now it's quite wet. I don't know what is the better tyre though. We'll see, because we've seen a few on the wets.
Yeah, interesting. For anyone listening who is racing, Intermediate Championship is still on, but it's roles reversed. So if you want to go out on a set of red-banded softs to give a lap a go, by all means do it. It'll count towards the Intermediate Championship at the end of the season. Obviously, you don't have to take part if you don't want to. You might be just skipping a week in that case, as Tiny takes the fastest lap with a 1:44.278. We've got benchmark times, but they're in the dry, and I don't believe even when we get into Q3 in about 30 minutes time, about 30 or 40 minutes time, that we'll see it dry. It'll be wet. And we've got John in the comments, and that's the one we're missing, Lee. Matthew, who's not taking part by the looks of things, said he was late home, and so that's why we've got 18 and not 19.
I think, well, if he's able to get home, I think he's McLaren, if I remember right. So he could possibly get in time.
Is, yeah. And who's the other lone driver this evening as well, actually? It's
Taylor in Alpine.
Yeah, and that was the same as if anyone was watching Burnt River Racing last night. One of the Alpines were alone last night in Singapore as well. Make sure to check that one out. On with GP1 that was available from Monday evening when me and Lee did the United States race, of course, in Austin, Texas at the Circuit of the Americas, and it was Singapore last night for Burnt River Racing. So make sure you check those two out, as long as well as this one as well. And as we're seeing times come on the board now, Lee, wet tyres not the right call. Definitely. Or are they doing wet tyres for Intermediate Championship? We'll keep a track, we'll keep note, but I'll say from next week onwards, if it's wet, it's the opposite, because I don't think this counts, does it? A wet track, well, an intermediate track using wet tyres, it's like doing the Intermediate Championship when it's dry on hard tyres, I think, personally. So it has to be the opposite.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, it is a lot, I would say, but I'm seeing Robo there just sitting on a pair of softs right now, so whether he's going to be coming out on them or not, we'll be able to see. Of course, the time is ticking down right now. Got Ginge 143.558 just flicked on him there as he was crossing the line. Royal Rumble is invalidated, so he'll be going again.
What is the exact situation with the weather, though?
What do you mean?
It's staying like this throughout qualifying, isn't it? Are we getting it into the race, or is it a full dry race, or?
It's half and half.
We starting
Yeah,
in wet conditions?
Yep. I think it's just going to be intermediate weather though. So I'm unsure if it is going to be wet or not, but I think it will be intermediate weather.
And I wonder how long for as well.
Yeah, that is the question. So I
bear with me
came
1
across
second.
some news Alright, okay.
Oh no, I can still hear you. I'm still here. I'm just.
Alright, I was just about to say that I came across some news earlier on actually regarding Audi coming into the sport. And apparently they're doing 100% takeover of Silver. Like it's
That's
changed from
yesterday's news, mate. That's about a week ago's news.
Was that? I just came across that today. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, it was about a week ago's news. Genuinely. I'm not even saying that to wind you up.
Bit slow down behind it then. Must be just be my news feed getting muddled up in that. But I was like, what the hell? So is there
Yeah, it was supposed to be 75%, wasn't it, originally?
So is there not going to be any Silver anymore?
No, not at all. Sauber's going completely. Well and truly, unfortunately.
Sad day.
It will be when it happens. Chuck, now in that middle sector, through turns 7 and 8 into the double left of 9 and 10, which is tricky in dry conditions actually there. It's not the easiest double corner to deal with, and especially in wet conditions as well. Through turn 11 and around the long looped corner of turn 12, which doesn't really have any banking actually. It does slightly, but it doesn't look so bad when you're on board. And now down this 1 kilometre back straight past the DRS line. Of course, in these conditions, no DRS available. Too dangerous. I'm going to be braking a little bit earlier just for the 100-metre board. Get the car stopped. Get it turned in nicely. Gentle on the power, because the rear wheels will spin up in these conditions. Through the final corner, watch out for track limits. I mean, look out for the line. And it places him third past us.
That was quite a decent time there for him, just not too far off of the top step there. Well, first anyway.
Top position, yeah.
Yeah, that's what, I mean, bit of a brain fart there, but
Taylor McKenzie. Yeah.
Yep, just coming around the final corner of turn 16. GTR now joining, and he goes 9th. Taylor McKenzie with a 1:45.0.
So just waiting for Chuckle to start his first lap, and Robert on his out lap has spun out at turn 10. I just said those 2 corners were treacherous, and even on an out lap, they're treacherous.
Well, he's on the softs, so
good man. This is the man by default now, and I think we'll let it slide with the rule, Lee, for today. The rule is you're supposed to start your lap before the 10 minutes clock kicks down, but we'll allow it. And I'm going to say though, Robbo's a reserve, so actually this won't count at all. Don't tell him that though.
Disappointed. Well, he might be listening. Oh, John saying he's 99% sure Max will go to Mercedes.
Yeah, There's definitely
It's definitely speculation due to, by the way, behind the scenes has been going.
yeah. Well, here we go then. Robbo on a set of slick tyres, competing in the Intermediate Championship, which technically, well, he can take part in it, but the stats aren't going to represent it because he's a reserve driver and we're only taking stats for full-time drivers. Because I tell you what, if we did reserves as well, we usually turn up around, like tonight, half an hour before 8 o'clock, get all our notes sorted, stats, etc., give ourselves a little bit of time. I think we'd be having to start around 7 o'clock, not half past. If we were dealing with reserves as well, it would take that long. So that's why we don't do it. And nothing against the reserves at all, but it is a bit easier. It's now Robbo abandons the lap to his teammate Paul Jones on the correct tyres for the condition, not disturb his flying lap.
Yeah, we've got Chuggle. What's he going to do? 143.199. So he's looking right quick in the wet right now. Oh, Danny off the track there on the exit 10 there. Just manages to keep it enough not to get his lap time discounted.
Yeah, he's also got Paul Jones just down the road ahead of him, also about to set his first lap. And I wonder if these guys are fueled up a little bit, Lee, to stay out and just get a few more laps in, because obviously the intermediate tyre is a lot more durable than a set of slicks. As Paul Jones there, just testing the track and almost went out of track limits there, must have been so close, and goes on to the second row with a 143.6, and Danny goes 11th fastest with a 144.7, and as Lee said, just out of turn 10 going off the road probably cost him a big bunch of time there.
Oh, Rob almost smashing it into the wall there. Just managed to keep it under control.
And Robbo, I think, they must be starting from the back. Must be.
Yeah.
Because he can't go and get in the pits again now.
No, it's impossible with the amount of time that he's got left. I mean, if he had the right tyre on, maybe, but even then, you'd still be pushing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in the elimination zone, it's only going to be one driver left that's going to be getting eliminated.
Yeah. As two of them have already been decided. Coit's game is obviously in the danger zone along with Perm Bowden, but Coit's has yet to set a time on intermediate tyres, as well as this man, Pippa Kennedy, who is making his way to the line on the intermediates and goes fastest and beats Chuckle's time, and our reigning champion and championship leader as it stands is now on the top spot in Q1 as Coit's Gamer starts potentially his final lap as Perm Bowden starts one behind him as well.
Oh, GTR just messed up his lap there as he was coming around turn 12 there. He went that wee bit wide there and he's invalidated. So he's going to have to try and get that battery charged back up, and hopefully it's enough as he's sitting at 57% right now. Perm Bowden on a lap right now as he's just heading through sector 2. And whereabouts is Coix? Just coming up to turn 9 now. GTR 3 starting a lap now.
Bear with me a sec.
So I'll have a wee look further down right now. So we're going to be Coix, I think, is going to be the next one to cross the line. and finishes lap. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2. That's a Haas. Unsure who that might be. Paul Jones? Rubble? It's Rubble. So he's fuel. It seems quite his gamer to the line. He goes third. So he's going to be through. Perrin Bowden, is he going to be able to get a better lap in 146? No, he doesn't. So is it going to be GTR getting through?
It's looking likely, but is Perm still on a lap here? Is he going on another one? He hasn't got a lot of battery, but you don't use it.
Well, it's 40 seconds left.
No, I mean, like, he could have just started another lap again.
Ah.
I think Perm's still struggling with all of his assists off now. Now, I'm genuinely trying to work out, no disrespect to him, whether he's on a lap or not. I feel like he is.
Well, we'll be able to find out as he's coming into turn 11 in just a few moments' time, as it'll come up when he's approached the sector. So let's see, he's actually up on his time, so if he continues this on, he could actually make it through into Q2 just by the skin of his teeth. If he manages to keep this up, he's coming around at turn 12 now. So make sure he gets it properly done right, and he does. Now it's just going to be straight down here, down to the hard brake in turn 14.
Yeah, but he's got himself into Q2 once this season so far, and got himself knocked out at Q1 once as well. So I wonder if he's going to have a tally of 2 of getting knocked out in Q1 or getting himself into Q2 and potentially beyond. Is he going to get through? He does, as GTR now gets knocked out. It was a 145.592 for Perm Bowden, and he gets through to Q2 for the second time this season after getting through in round 1 in Miami.
Yeah, we just managed to make it there anyway. Bit lucky for him on that part, so he's managed to get through into the second stage of qualifying. GTR, unfortunately, not as fortunate. I think it was due to him invalidating his final lap. He couldn't manage to get another competitive time on the board. So he's going to have to be a little bit patient now as we go through the second and third stages of qualifying. Just waiting for a Looney Man to get wheeled back in. So, a little rundown of the order of Q1. We've got Pippo Kennedy, who got the fastest lap there, 143.154. And then there was Chuckle just behind him, and then it was Super Striker, Koyak's Gamer in 4th, 5th was Ginge, then it was Tiny in 6th. Paul Jones 7th, Chuck was 8th, Lee was 9th, and then it was Prof in 10th. 11th was Royal Rumble, Looney Man was 12th, 13th was Danny, Taylor McKenzie in 14th, and Per Bowden just managing to make it through there at the end. He will be in 15th and managing to get through into Q2. Who won't be getting through into Q2 will be GTR, Robbo and Prodigy, who will all be starting in the respective places of 16th, 17th and 18th come the race, once we have dealt with Q2 and 3. So now moving on to the 15-minute session, where 15 drivers will battle out for a place in the final qualifying session. And lo and behold, it's still lashing it down.
Yeah, certainly is. So who's going to be the first one out of the garage then?
It looks like it's a Red Bull Super Striker who's going to be the first up. If that's Super Striker just leaving the pit lane in that Red Bull there. So it looks like he's going to be most likely the one to get on the flying lap first. We've seen quite a lot of people coming out of the pits quite early. And there's been a little bit of a chain start to happen.
Yeah, definitely. They've all seemed to come out in an orderly fashion, actually. Who did we say was first? It's the Red Bull Super Striker, isn't it?
Yeah, Super Striker is just coming around turn 9 now. He's going to be the first one up. And that's a bit unfortunate about Matthew, but hopefully he manages to get some rest anyway. Just a comment from John there saying that he's just in and he's going to miss tonight. He's tired, so understandable. But unfortunately,
not really. He's still got about 25 minutes to have a break.
I think he might need a little bit longer than that.
26 then.
Well, we'll see how things will be going in just a few short moments. Super Striker just coming onto his lap now, rounding the final corner. We'll be able to see what time he's going to be able to put on the board. He's coming into turn 1 now. And it's really one of these ones that does like to pull you to the outside. As it's basically 2 corners into one. It's now we're at turn 3. And then there's 4 right here, and they do come up quite fast on you. And there's a little chink of turn 5. Then you've got turn 6 here, quite nicely done. Doesn't use up all the track, but he manages to get on the power quite nicely. Being a little bit cautious with it being a little bit more of a slippery surface. Now around turn 8, taking a bit too much apex there and actually getting on the grass. Being careful with that curb on the outside of turn 9, is that even in the dry that could have a tendency to sometimes make the car slip out a little. Being careful on the throttle here, don't want to make it slip out here, as it could really cost you a lot of time as you're coming down this long straight. I think it's really at 1.2 kilometres, if I remember right. Is that?
I thought it was 1 kilometre, but we'll go with that.
Yeah, well, somewhere about there. We'll say 1.1, just...
We'll meet in the middle, shall we?
Yeah, round it out. But it manages to get the car slowed down quite nicely there for turn 14. Now around turn 16, doesn't use up all the track on the exit. And, I'm not sure if that's going to be a good enough time for Q3, judging by the way times were in Q1.
Yeah, well, there you go, 133.6. I think we got down to a 143.6. I think we got down to a 143.1, and now we've got down to a 143.0 already as the McLaren of Ginge crosses the line with a 149.9. Looney Man up next after him, and then Royal Rumble after that. 144.627. And as you said, just missed him there, 145.8. He did better than that at the end of Q1. As Coix Gamer goes fastest with a 142.7. Driver's really starting to get into the groove now in these conditions. Here comes Chuck. And I think he invalidated, so that's why he hasn't put a lap time on the board as of yet. And we're just waiting for Prof now to come down to the hairpin at turn 14.
Lee went third there with 143.329.
So, really, I think sort of mid to low 143s might already be the cut-off for Q3. 1:49.0. Must have been a mistake there, as I think Prop is going straight back onto another attempt. Obviously don't have to do a cool down lap here, as you don't use up the battery in these conditions quite as much as you would normally do. So you can kind of have 2 runs with the battery. Waiting for Chuckle to make his way to the line now. And he goes fastest at 1:47. 1:42.768 against a 1:42.786.
It's like 18 thousandths of a second.
And someone else there just got onto the board. Who was that? Someone just popped in there. Ginge went a little bit further up there. 1:43.329 for him. And Chuck invalidated again. May just have the fuel to do one more attempt. And of course, he has got the option to pit and got plenty of time to get back out there again. As Danny just starts his first attempt, as we're now waiting for Paul Jones. We'll be waiting a while as he's going slowly. And Chuck is coming into the pits.
Quite surprising there with Chuck. I guess it coming in right now, get a quick refuel and out again. So we've got 7 minutes 45 on the clock right now, and we've still got 3 drivers still to settle up. We've got Danny in sector 2 right now. Paul Jones is just coming around turn 14-15 right now. And into the final corner here, breaking around 15 metres before the corner. And now using up as much of this track as possible, but he's just starting a lap now. He must have just been doing a double warm-up. Danny's still coming up to turn 11 there. Went a bit wide there, just a little bit light on the brakes. And he's struggling to get on the power as he's rounding at turn 12 and 13 there. So that's going to really impact him as he's coming down this straight all the way down into turn 14 here. There's going to be heavy braking, and we'll see how well he's going to be able to deal with that. Is he going to manage to get it hooked in quite nicely? Yes, he does.
He's only got one more corner to go now. He's looking like he's on for a pretty decent time, and then just he overcooked it as well, I think. I still didn't do a bad time, though, to be fair, with that big mistake, which would have cost him, I think, around 1.5 seconds. Maybe a second, give or take. Probably a second.
I would say if he got a better sector 3, that would have probably bumped him up. I would say possibly even...
second or third, maybe.
6.
I think maybe second or third, yeah, if you think about it. If that was down by a second, 1:40, yeah, it probably was. 4th, 5th around there.
I think he was down quite a bit due to that going down the exit of turn 14. He just got that little bit out of shape, getting on the power just that little bit too much. Coming around turn 12, as we know, is quite a slippery corner. You're turning and putting power down through the car as well, so it does like the kind of skate away from you a little. Paul Jones goes 4th with a 1:43.033. Oh, Pippo Kennedy. Now that is horse.
Yeah, it is BS, to be honest. He was slowing down to. This is a problem as well. I feel like we could try and get this system to be a little bit smarter in knowing who's on a fast lap. As I've said for a couple of years, I wonder if they can code it in for when you're in sort of hot lap mode, on your dash, that it will sort of react with marshals bringing out the blue flags.
Yeah.
That's how I think the system could work, because especially if they put that in notes and made it very clear, I feel like leagues would put in a rule that when you finish your lap, you turn it off. You turn it straight off, because then people know when cars are coming up behind you, no blue flags. They're not on a lap, and if they are on a lap in none, I kind of would say that's their problem. for not being...
That's, yeah, for being sort of silly.
Yeah, so, and,
Like you've done it multiple times. And so have I, to be honest.
Yeah, I think everyone does once in a while. But yeah, if that rule was in place, and who was it? It was Paul, wasn't it? Who'd set the lap. If that was in place, and Paul had switched it straight to none as he went over the line, lifted off the throttle, and it went to none, the blue flags would have stopped waving, and Pippa Kennedy wouldn't have got that penalty because he'd only just finished the lap rather than just starting it. But yeah.
Yeah,
BS, really.
He was just coming out. He was coming out of the pits, and I think he held. I think it was Chuck up a little. No, it was Royal Rumble. As they were coming out of the pit lane, because Paul Jones was passing. So yeah, it's a bit of a annoying one there. So I would suspect we're probably going to be dealing with a restart come when we come to the race, depending on what we find happens with that. I'll try and keep you updated on that if any word comes through on that.
So we're just watching Paul Jones at the moment. Oh, sorry, we're watching chat, not Paul Jones. Come through turn 12 and 13 and down the back straight. Chuck getting the first pole of the season. Is he going to make it 2 out of 3 this week? Gets on the brakes as late as he possibly can. Doesn't use up all of the road either. Maybe the line's better in the wet conditions as he goes through the final corner with an Alfa Romeo of Prof just ahead of him, who gets out of the way, and Chuck goes on to the second row with a 142.8, only just under a tenth behind provisional first place, which is his brother Chuckle. But even in these conditions, Lee, some of the drivers actually very, very close. Especially that top 6, actually, only 3/10 between them.
Yeah, it's actually looking really close between
0.28, actually, to be precise.
Yeah,
between
the top
6.
Yeah, they're awfully close to each other. And yeah, it could be quite a close one come the rest, I would say. And
Danny,
especially with this little...
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I would say it's going to be quite a close one, I would say, come the rest, especially with interchangeable weather.
Yes. So, Taylor McKenzie starting a lap here as Danny retires from the session with only just over 1 minute to go. That means he's out in Q2 and got around a 20-minute wait now until we get into the race. Royal Rumble. It's got to be his final lap, and with the time on the board, and he spins at turn 14, and that's the end of his qualifying as well. He's not going to be starting any better than 11th. And has he got himself beached now, Lee? No. Got himself back underway. Checker flag is about to make its way out as Prof makes his way to the line and starts his final lap. And he's going to be the first one to see the checkered flag, just waiting to see the time on our screen, as we still got a yellow flag in that final sector. And there we go, checkered flag is out. The top 6 aren't going to be able to go any faster. Is this man, Looney Man, going to go faster and try and secure his place in Q3 as he makes his way to the line now? He goes 7th fastest and just over half a second behind the fastest car as Lee then crosses the line, and the top 4 within a 10th of a second in these conditions as we wait for Taylor Mackenzie, who looks like he may be out with the time he's about to set. 140, 141, 42. Is he going to be safe? He could be. It's a possibility, but he's on the cusp. Is Bowden still sitting down in 15th, and that's where he's going to be starting. Super Striker is going to be out in Q2 for the third week in a row and not been able to pass the Q2 stage, as we now wait for Prof to see if he can knock out Taylor Mackenzie. It's between these two now, whilst Taylor bites his nails and agonisingly waits to see what Prof can do. Lee.
Yep, sorry, I was just sorting something out there.
Here comes Prof, and he gets through. Taylor Mackenzie is knocked out in Q2, and Prof will be, because his final position was 8th in Q2.
Right, so here we go. We'll have a wee rundown of the second of 3 qualifying sessions. And we see Chuckle gets the fastest lap yet again in the second stage here. We've got Koyax, who was just behind there with 18 thousandths of a second, and then Lee closely followed behind, and Chuck in the fourth there, all within 1/10 of each other. Absolutely amazing stuff from these drivers. Pipple Kennedy was in 5th, then it was Paul Jones in 6th, 7th was Ginge Prof in 8th, 9th was Lehman, and Tiny is 10th. They will be moving on to the third and final qualifying session and battling out for that pole position and that extra point. Taylor Mackenzie, Royal Rumble, Danny, Super Striker and Perrin Bowden will all be starting in their respective places of 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th and 15th come the race, and they will not be moving on to the third and final stage of qualifying.
And breathe. Only 6/10 between 1st and 10th there. In these conditions as well, that's very impressive. And I love to know, well, that would have been in dry conditions. That could have easily been 3, maybe, 4, maybe 3/10 of a second between the top 10. Who's going to be the first one out there? I think you keep putting yourself on mute, or you're just being very quiet today.
Yeah, I'm trying to sort out this penalty for Pipple. It is a bit unfair what's happened.
What do you mean you're trying to sort it out? Are you a racing godly? Is this what you're trying to tell me?
Oh, I'm trying to be fair here and do my back, so...
What, are you suggesting a restart?
Yeah, just letting them... I'm just letting them see the... what do you call it? Oh, what happened there with Lee? He just went straight on coming out the pits.
I didn't actually catch that. I've gone to him now and he's on the track. I don't know if that was a bit of a desync or something. Right, before we get Q3 fully underway, Lee, as I've said last couple of days, still feeling ill, and yeah, I just need to blow my nose, so just bear with me a sec.
No, hang on. Had a fuse.
Get on with it, lad.
Yep, so who's it going to be first up? I think it's the Alpha Romeo. Is that Winnieman? Yep, it's going to be Winnieman. And I think that's Pipple Kennedy just right behind him.
And I'm back. Yeah, who's up firstly? It looks like a Ferrari, maybe. Is it Tiny?
Winnieman.
Sorry, Dini left the Alfa Romeo. They do look very similar colours. Obviously, in F124, we're not going to have that problem, because I think it's going to be like a fluorescent green against the, I'm not going to say teal, but the darker green of Aston Martin. Looneyman starts his first lap. Pippo Kennedy is the one after him. Tiny after that. And then we've got the AlphaTauri of Queeks Gamer. He's been on pole. Chuck and Pippa Kennedy have both been on pole today. I wonder if Pippa Kennedy is going to get on pole and if we're going to get a lobby restart for him, because as we said, that is actually quite unfair, and Lee's trying to fight his corner as Looney Man makes his way into the hairpin of turn 6, and now rising back up the hill, back to the right hand side to turn left-handed through turns 7 and 8, which is a bit of a break in feathering of the throttle, especially in these conditions through these two corners. Stay right through here to then turn back to the left for the double left-hander at 9 and 10, which are tricky, as I said earlier on in Q1, and down this semi-stretch towards turn 11. Brakes locking there through turn 12, and you never really know where you can put your foot hard down through turn 12 and 13. It's somewhat of a guessing game as we come back out onto the just over 1 kilometre straight. What kind of speeds in these wet conditions we're going to get up to near the 200 mile an hour range, about 195 miles an hour when we hit the brakes in about 120 metres before the apex, through the apex of turn 14, 15 dealt with as well, very similar to Bahrain, a bit of a nothing corner unless you get it wrong, and through the final corner of turn 16, one that can be tricky, especially right at the end of the lap, at 1:43.8, not a bad time from himself, as Pippa Kennedy does a lap over a second faster than Looney Man, and a 1:43.2 for Tiny. Queeks Gamer is up next after him, and then Ginge is just in the background as well. What's Queeks Gamer going to do here? Goes on provisional pole. Ginge up next. Where's it going to put him? He goes the slowest of the 5 drivers so far as we wait for the Haas of Paul Jones to make his way to the line. One of the reserves this evening gets into the top 3. We now have a bit of a wait for Chuck in the Williams up next, as we still haven't had Lee yet to leave the pit lane, Lee, and I wonder if he's going to do a couple of laps simultaneously, because the clock's ticking down now.
Yeah, he's really going to have to get out and get a time on the board, unless he's only doing the 1 lap. Like you said, he could do 2 laps straight back to back near enough. But yeah, I've just went and sent that in for Pippo, so hopefully everything goes alright. But we've got the Chuckle Brothers on the lap. Chuck to the line, 1:42.410. Now Chuckle, just behind, 1:42.481.
And now we're just waiting for Prof to start his lap, as everyone else has completed their first laps, coming into the pits, getting a new set of tyres, refuelling, or just taking as much fuel out as they possibly can now, as it will be their last run before we get into the race. And as I said, potentially we will have a slight stoppage where we let Pippo take his actual position, and potentially that 5 place grid penalty won't be applied for him, because it was a little bit unfair, will it? I will admit that, as we wait for Paul Jones to come into the pits as well, as Prof starts his first attempt and going through turn 1 and 2, which is, as you said the other day, Lee, when we were talking about tracks, one of your favourite sequences of corners. It's definitely a Marmite sequence of corners through 1, 2, 3 and 4 here.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's one of them, like, sometimes it's like you could hate it, but other times you love it. I think it's a brilliant corner for, there's so many different ways you could go into it, and I think it provides quite a good overtaking opportunities, especially like for turn 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, I think the whole sector 1 here is actually quite good. Provides plenty of chances for overtaking, even going down into turn 6 also. Robbie, how do you find this track?
I like it. I think it's quite good for league racing. I think it's just quite a good track in general, really, I guess.
Yeah, the only bit I really hate of this track would be turns 12 and 13 as well. You really need to get that right, and you want to get on the power as early as you can to try and get as much speed coming down into turn 14 and down that big, long straight as well. We know that it's a big overtaking opportunity there.
Well, here comes Prof to the line, and I think he backed out of that lap and he's going again here.
I think he'd done a double warm-up.
Intentionally, do you think, or do you think he made a mistake in the first?
Yeah, it was intentional, I think, because he was 100% the whole time, so yeah, I think he's just kicking back a little and now going for the lap. I think this might be his one and only though. Purple in sector 1 anyway.
Yeah, that's what it's saying. He's 5/10 up on his original time, so maybe not actually. Maybe he did make a mistake because he's only 5/10 up in the first sector. So maybe he did make a mistake because obviously if he was doing a double warm up, it would have been bigger than that. We'll find out once we get through into the end of sector 2, which is quite a short sector actually. It finishes right about now. And yeah, he's now 2.7 seconds up on his previous time. So he was definitely doing a cool down part of this last sector. But he seemed to be somewhat on it in he was on it in sector 1. And for a certain part of sector 2 he would have been as well. But crucially, in that first sector where he was being competitive on the last lap, he's half a second up from that one. So we should see him move up the board. I wonder if he'll beat his teammates' time as he comes into the final hard braking zone of the lap, and got the shorter braking zone, but arguably a more difficult corner, turn 16. Just keeps it within track limits. The power is down to the line, and he just beats his teammate at 143.352. And that, I think, will be the end of qualifying for Prof. He doesn't have fuel to go again, nor does he have time to get in the garage and back out again.
Nope, that is going to be it for him, unfortunately. Yep, so up next will be his teammate, who's just coming around turn 12 now. And we'll be able to see how he's going to fare compared to his Alfa Romeo counterpart. He's now coming down this long back straight here. Even with the extra downforce that he's hitting 195 miles an hour there. And then hard braking all the way down to just under 40 miles an hour there. All within just a few meters. So it just goes to show you how strong these brakes are in these cars from how quick they come down in the braking. The only one crosses the line, goes sixth with 143.057, puts him in sixth. Ooh, Ginger getting a bit shaky coming out of turn 14 and 15 there. See how he's going to be able to do. He's going to be able to put on the board. Still goes quickest, 142.305.
Paul Jones on an out lap as well, and so is Chuckle just behind him. These are the last drivers who are preparing to do their final lap, along with Queeks Gamer. And then just behind them is Prof, who's about to come into the pit lane after he seemingly seems like he's run out of fuel as well. Into turn 14 for Tiny. Is he going to see the checkered flag? He is indeed, as we see the checkered flag fall now. And this is really the last dance of qualifying. Bit of a cha-cha slide there from Tiny. He actually backs off at the last.
Even then, I don't think he was going quick enough on his time.
Here comes Lee, who is yet to set a time, the only one of 10 that is not set a benchmark. So this is a one-shot Q3 for RTG Lee, and where's it going to put him on the board? We see Ginge on provisional pole position at the moment. Where's Lee going to go? Sixth fastest for him, and we're now waiting for the championship leader and champion to set his final lap. 5 place grid penalty potentially for him. He goes on to provisional pole. We'll see if the lobby gets reset for him. If he does, that might mean he's on pole. Looney Man coming to the line now. He stays 8th fastest. And we're waiting next for Chuck, who set pole. Who set pole in
turn 13.
Who set pole in the first race in Miami. As Lee said, Chuckle is round. He stays on the second row. He can't go any higher up the board. Waiting for Paul Jones now, so Chuckle will not be fighting for that pole position. And we're waiting for others like Ginge as well, who I think may have set a lap a bit earlier on, didn't he? And we're now waiting for Paul Jones. He crosses the line. Coix Gamer after him. We know he can set good times as he cha-cha slides through the final corner. And he goes on to provisional pole. And we're waiting for Ginge. Is he going to take it back? He had it before. He was up on his time. He again then slows down, but he was already on a slow lap. And the extra point and pole position will be going to the Dutchman of Coix Gamer.
And Chuckle smashes it into the wall on pit entry. So, there we go. That's the final running order there of Q3. And you'll see there, Coix Gamer managing to get the fastest lap there at 142.082. Nicely done from him. So you'll be getting that extra bonus point for pole position there. Smashing lap there from him at the end. Pippo Kennedy in 2nd place. And then it was Ginge in 3rd, Chuck in 4th, Chuckle in 5th, unfortunately having that spin there at the end of qualifying. Paul Jones in 6th, 7th was Lee, Looneyman was 8th, Tiny was 9th, and Prof was 10th. And that is how they're going to line up come the race in a little over a few moments, as we will be having a lobby reset.
No, well, in that case then, it'll give me and Lee a chance to have a little break, as we don't always get the chance, so I will take it with open arms. We'll be back in a moment with the lobby being reset. Prof just said, the owner of GP2, said give us about 5 minutes to get that sorted, so we will be back in a minute, and yeah, we will see Coix Gamer on pole with Pippo Kennedy alongside him. We'll be back in a moment. And we're back, guys. So thanks for waiting. Appreciate it. We're back for the race itself. And as I said, oh my days, my memory's short. Who was on pole? Queeks Gamer is going to be on pole alongside Pippa Kennedy on that front row. So it should be very interesting. And as we said before, a unique turn 1 and 2 here. So we'll wait to see what happens. Just if you haven't watched this before, we don't have a formation lap. So, yeah, we'll get going straight away. And I'm assuming everyone's on the Intisley.
2 seconds.
I'm sure Lee will tell us in a second. Yeah.
Yep, I'll go and check. And yep, intermediates for everyone.
Okay. So, how many laps there? I didn't actually check when we were in the menu. 27, is it? 27, 28?
I think it's 27 for here.
Yeah, I'm not too sure myself.
It's one of them.
Welcome back, everyone who's back joining us again. Welcome. Make sure you're liking the video if you're enjoying the content on RTG TV. As I said, we're about to get underway for this race. 18 drivers for this 27-lap race around the Shanghai International Circuit, which, of course, is back on the calendar again in F1 2024 for the first time since before the COVID pandemic. It's 5 years since we've been at China. 2019 was the last time we was here. Can't even remember who won that race. I think it was Valtteri Bottas, actually. And there was that famous double pit stop. Can you remember from Mercedes? It was absolutely slick as anything.
That one where it was just absolutely down to perfection.
Yeah, he told him to follow Lewis in. He said, "Oh, you better not hold me up." Then they really didn't. It was around 2.8 seconds each. Right, we're about to get underway. We've got 2, 3, 4, and 5 red lights. Queeks Gamer on pole, and we're away for the GP2 race here in China. We've got a Ferrari in the back there getting a struggle to get started, as Queeks Gamer's got a very good start here. The McLaren of Ginge going side by side with Chuck into turn 2. Chuck on the inside, though, having the high ground, but now being hit up the rear by Paul Jones, and now actually being hit again, and he's in all sorts of problems. Is Chuck now down to 8th, 9th, now getting all over the curb on the exit, and now the Alpine is hit the Red Bull, or vice versa, and a couple of others have gone down as well. Taylor Mackenzie Lee, Super Striker, and the Williams of Royal Rumble, both Red Bulls are down towards the back now. That is not going to be helpful towards their constructors' fight. We've got a VSC deployed, and we can take a breath for a moment, but they were some interesting first 3 corners.
Yep, but like I said, it always provides great action there, and it was a bit of a weird one with, I think it was the Red Bull of Lee and Taylor Mackenzie, I'm unsure. I just seen it in the background, and it was like Taylor Mackenzie just ended up going and breaking his wing there.
Oh, look at that! Pippo Kennedy caught Queeks Gamer unawares there as we got back racing again and took the lead straight as the green flag came out. That was intelligent racing, and he had his wits about him there.
GTR went right into the side of Prodigy there, and now that's caused him to lose 2 places.
So we go down the back straight towards turn 14 as we see Pippo Kennedy going defensive here. Queeks Gamer looking right, looking back to the left for the inside line, but not close enough as we get on the brakes into turn 14. As we go a little bit further back here, Danny on the inside of Looney Man here. Is he going to get the traction out of turn 14 and 15 into turn 16, still in 8th place, but now on the inside at turn 16 and gets past there. I don't know how he made some room there, but he did, and now has lost some places there. I think he wanted to give that back, so he might have cut the corner. Is now the 2 Alfa Romeos going shoulder to shoulder through turns 1 and 2 and almost shoulder barging each other through turn 1.
Yeah, and there was, with that battle in there between Danny and Looney Man coming out with the final corner, that ended up, Chuck ended up just coming through and not seeing that they slowed up a little due to a little bit of contact and went into the back, and seen a bit of carbon fibre from the wing come flying off. But looking at it now,
look at this though, yeah.
And now
Prodigy as well, who started 18th. and is now up into 11th. Is he going to try the long way round on Robbo here in the Haas? He certainly is. He's got the shorter route for turn 8 and into turn 9 again on the outside. Going to try and hold with it as best he can and gets it done. This man loves to get some naughty little overtakes done, and there was one that was almost rated out there.
Yeah, but we'll say that was absolutely smashing overtake there from Prodigy on Robbo there. Absolutely battling out to the nail. Old Danny getting a little bit out of shape coming around turn 13.
Super Striker has now had an incident as well at that turn 13, and as well as GT Ord as well. Both of them spun off in the same place, not getting a lot of grip. Is Prodigy now having a lot of grip on the inside there at turn 14 on Danny.
Yep, Danny managing to find the traction though, and he's going to have the inside the line. Oh, and he backs out. Prodigy just keeps it in. But is he going to have a wee look coming into turn 1? He's going to have the outside the line. I'm seeing a little bit of jumping there, whether that be a connection issue or not. But it looks like Prodigy with him having that inside line. But Danny, he's fighting back here, coming around turn 2. And then switching. Is he going to go for the inside? No, he isn't. He's going to back out of it and wait 2 pounds later on.
Pippo's still in the lead as well to Coit's Gamer. I wonder how long this rain is going to last, Lee.
Yeah, that is the question. Is it going to be just another few more laps, or is it going to be on for the majority of the race?
Yeah. Not too sure. I'm not too sure how many categories the admins have got in a 50% race. I think it's 4 slots they can pick for weather conditions. So it's whether they pick 1, 2, 3, and we're going to have drying towards the end. And of course, it relies on track temperature as well, and air temperature is Robbo there. Was that a defensive move from him?
Nope, he just got past Danny there on the run up to turn 11 there. So it was nicely done from him there. Prodigy though, looking at a pass on Looneyman coming down this back straight now. And he manages to get that done. He's up into 8th place now. And where was that? He started down at the back of the grid, and he's already up into 8th place by the end of lap 3.
Fantastic drive from him so far, and by the looks of things, it seems like he's having an awful lot of fun out there as well as Paul Jones sets the fastest lap.
Danny's into the wall.
Danny's into the wall. It's a safety car deployed. And where did he go out there? He lost it on the exit of the final corner. We've seen that so many times before, in-game, in real life as well. It's a treacherous corner. If it goes wrong, it really punishes you, and it's quick as well. So if it does punish you, you've got very, very little time to try and counter the slide. And in that instance, Danny wasn't able to, and was met by the pit wall.
Yeah, I think he must have got a little bit out of shape there and then tried to fix it and correct, and unfortunately it just kicked the rear out the other way and just right into the wall.
Danny! Oh, sorry, Super Striker, not Danny. Super Striker getting a drive-through penalty there. He'd actually physically stopped on the track.
Ah, that is unfortunate. That is... From being all the way down at the back of the grid, he's going to be hoping and praying for another safety car quite soon, hopefully in a couple of laps for him anyway. But yeah, that's a bit unfortunate right there. Are we going to see anyone coming into the pits? Oh, we've seen Super Striker jump in. I think Chuck, has he been in already? Yes, he has, so he's got his front wing fixed.
Who was that, sorry? Chuck getting his front wing fixed?
Yeah, he's already been in for a lap, a pit. Must have just been the lap or two before.
Going slowly as well by the looks of things, seeing his... sorry, still got a doubter, I think, seeing as how slowly he was going. That was what I was meant to say. And now Pippa Kennedy going on to lap 5 and is going to be met by the safety car around the next few corners.
Robbo into the pits.
And of course, if the rain is going to stop, Lee, this means in terms of laps, it's going to stop earlier now.
Yeah. And GTR there just had to actually stop on track on the exit.
Dry tyres. Dry tyres for Robbo. Hard tyres going on for the Haas.
Oh, Robbo being the test subject, a little guinea pig right there, and seeing how things are going to fare.
But is it set up to fail already, though, Lee?
I mean, he's not really got anything to lose. He is a reserve, so why not be the test subject and see how things are going to go? You might end up pulling off an absolute blinder, as sometimes that could happen. Maybe also you could stop in another lap or two.
The other thing to consider, though, of course, is the fact that he is going to be driving slowly. He's on the hardest of the dry compound, so going to have the least amount of grip. And those tyres, even though they're not going to be able to get up to temperature at full speed, they are going to be ice cold. They're going to be wet, cold, slick tyres, which
don't go well.
Recipe for disaster, isn't it?
Yeah, you can see him struggling through turns 9 and 10 there.
Yeah, it's certainly not going to be a, it's going to be stone cold.
Yeah, we see him even all the way up in the 6th gear, he was still hesitant on the throttle. He really hesitant coming around turns 13 and...
Rain stopped.
13. Oh, so has he pulled off a blinder? He's going to have to try and catch up quickly.
Well, we're going to have another lap, aren't we? But does this mean that everyone now is going to just pile in? Nope.
Oh,
is anyone going to pile in? Yes, a few of them are now. This is...
It's just a chain reaction all the way down.
Oh, look how wide they're going, though.
Oh, come on, we're going to see any.
Yeah, maybe Robbo did pull off a bit of a blinder there. Look how far up he's going to go. Here we go. He's going to go straight up to 4th.
Oh, honestly, I'm slightly disappointed in some of these guys. I was expecting a little cheeky overtake there into the pits. It was a perfect opportunity for them. I think, who was it that done that before? Was it Vettel? Done that before when he was at Ferrari? When
yes,
drivers were going slow into the pit, so
yeah,
you got 2 overtakes done.
It was close with Lewis as well, I remember, a few years before that as well, when he was in his Red Bull days. They were sort of side by side in the actual pit lane, weren't they? So back in the day.
I thought one of the funniest was on the exit of the corner into the pit lane. There was the gravel trap, and Lewis just went wide and got trapped in it.
Yeah, the other thing, sorry, just to cut you off. The other thing, we're probably going to do one more lap than this. The top 3 have made I'm going to dare to say it, an awful call to stay out, especially the 2 Alpha Tauris and especially for GTRs, because he's going to be held up for 5, 6, 7 seconds.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's
I think Pippo and Coix are going to fall all the way to the back now. They're going to fall down to
15th.
15th, yeah.
15th.
Yeah, and we're going to do another lap because Super Striker hasn't caught up yet. None of the other guys have caught up. We're going to be definitely doing one more lap under the safety car. I wouldn't actually...
At the right time.
I'd also... Yeah, but he's going to take the lead, isn't he? So just making that call a little earlier on. The safety car, of course, though, has played into his hands, but you do need that little bit of luck. Are those 3 all going to come in? Of course they are, as everyone else has. It isn't actually time for dry tyres, I don't think, no. We're just on the verge of the crossover, I think. But once they've all done it, you kind of just got to follow suit then, haven't you, and just be a herd of sheep.
Yeah, it's one of them. They've already took their pit stop, and well, like we've seen here, the rain has stopped already, so they've got no option really but to make that pit stop, and we could see that they've actually fell right down the order. So waiting that extra lap to pit has actually cost them a bunch of places, unfortunately.
Yeah, and our championship leader is not going to be happy about that. Of course, Coix as well, probably hoping to be in a championship fight. And of course, with Robbo being a reserve, is in the lead at the moment, but technically, in terms of full-time drivers and point scoring, Ginge is leading the race.
Yep, he's actually managed to do quite a smashing here.
And it's dry. It's bone dry. And this is the thing I hate about F123. It's still cloudy. I can somewhat forgive it when it's bright sunshine, but when it's cloudy like this and we haven't been racing at full speed, it should not be dry already.
I want to see the dry line coming to.
Yes, I do as well.
Like for instance, you see it in, what was that year? Canada.
Yeah, 2011, Jenson Button winning on the last lap.
Yeah. Like you could, it's just a picture in my head, as you could see the dry line compared to the wet part of the track, like visibly, easily. So it would be good to see something like that. I mean, look at that, the right hand side of the track. It's bone dry, even though there's been 0 cars on that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, with obviously it's nice for the people who haven't been able to get themselves a PS5 yet. Obviously, it's nice that they're able to carry on with everyone else. But staying on this old engine, in terms of game engine, I mean, we're not going to really see any difference for F124. And we haven't done for a while. Is Robbo goes very early, Lee. Really early, and he's actually caught Ginge completely unawares there.
Holy smackaroos, he's actually managed to get near enough 2-second gap already.
And it's a chain reaction down the field as well, because it was so early. Everyone else, I don't think we're expecting it so much, and maybe, making that old habit, which isn't a good one to have, of just looking at the car in front of you and actually not looking down the queue. And as you said, yeah, Robbo, 2 seconds into the lead already out of turn 3 and 4.
That has got to be one of the best calls I've seen.
Oh, here goes Looney Man to the outside of Royal Rumble. Here is Chuck as well going to try and go for a move on his teammate. It looks like he is, but it looks like Royal Rumble... I was going to say, it looks like Royal Rumble was going to give him the place. Not necessarily. He's gone deep as well into the corner. It means he's going to be under threat from Pippo Kennedy, which of course now is going to... His blood is going to be boiling after the safety car is dealt him a very, very bad hand here.
Yep, Super Striker just cruising at the back there. Unsure what's happened with him, whether he be an AI or not.
No, he had that drive-through, didn't he? As Coy's Gamer goes wide here, goes side by side with Taylor McKenzie. They actually make contact. Taylor didn't leave him enough space on the inside there. I would believe that was actually more in... more of a Taylor's issue than the other way around. His apology gets past Prof, going down the back straight towards turn 14.
Yep. Oh, Royal Rumble, is he going to fight back here? And no, Pippo Kennedy manages to outbrake him and get the car around the outside and keep that position for 11th place. Seen fastest lap start to come in there. Prodigy setting the fastest lap there at 135.236, and the times will just keep getting quicker and quicker as this track evolves and gets more air quotes drier.
Well, it will stop being a green track, won't it? It will start rubbering in as we go further on, as we're at about 1/3 distance. And the rain did not last long at all. I think if we'd have had full race conditions, we'd have been about this point at about lap 13 or 14, maybe. But it didn't last too long at all. As we go through this middle sector now, the twisty, windy part of the Shanghai circuit, Robbo's still maintaining that over 2-second lead. Ginge, though, having to look in his rear view mirror at the all black Mercedes, not too far behind. And we've got the Haas just behind him as well. Haven't seen DRS at all this evening, and once we get to the end of this lap, we're going to see it for the first time today. Is Chuckle, though, slipstream actually working rather well there, and actually reasonably effective, as Lily Man getting past and Prodigy making a big lunge here on Tiny as they go through. Of course, Tiny taking one of the 2 wins this season so far. Pippo Kennedy taking the other down in 11th place, but he has moved up some places, and Prodigy, his teammate, now into 5th after starting at the very back. But how long is he going to be in 5th for? Maybe not for very long, as Tiny might be trying to fight back here, but wasn't able to achieve what he wanted.
Yep, Chuck there managing to move up into 9th place there, using a bit of that slipstream and battery there on lead there, and managing to get past it, and now he'll be eyeing up a move on the Alfa Romeo of Winnieman, and he's getting ever closer. We'll see a big walk up there from Prof just ahead in 7th place. Kayaks and Royal Rumble swapping places there. Of course, Kayaks will be slightly right with the way the strategy went during the safety car. Pretty sure he'll be screaming at his race engineer about that. When we look further up, see, is Chuckle going to be able to get the move done on Ginge here? As we know, this is battling for the lead now, technically. Now DRS open for Chuckle, and Ginge goes all the way over to the left hand side, and looks like Paul Jones is having a wee peek, and now he's got both of them, but he outbrakes himself, and now is he going to end up losing positions? No, he doesn't. He just manages to keep that 4th position there, but yeah, unfortunately outbraking himself, walking up, going down. He was the latest to brake, but he was also the latest to turn. Ginger had so much speed there going into turn 1, it looks like he was going to the back of Chuckle there, as the Alfa Romeos swap places there, and Chuck could see all this inter-team squabbling going on for that 7th place just up ahead of him. He'll be waiting for the right moment to pounce and maybe even get both of them and get up into that 7th place. Quite big walk-ups here from Winnieman.
It was very feisty racing there. Apologies, I didn't catch all of it there. But we did catch the sort of result coming into turn 14. So that was the main bit. But Chuckle now up into 2nd place. But vice versa now. Chuckle looking in his rearview mirror at Ginge and the other 2 cars behind, as well as Prodigy's having an absolutely fantastic race up to now, and is on the back of 4th and actually in sight of 2nd place as we go down this 1.1 kilometre straight. DRS open for Ginge, DRS open for Paul Jones and Prodigy as well, as Paul Jones moves to the inside. So does Ginge try and block him off here, as Prodigy again going for a big lunge, and Chuck as well, is Pippo Kennedy moving up as well, getting himself now into the top 10 and trying to make up all that time he lost under the safety car. So is Coix Gamer, but he's not doing as well as Pippo Kennedy as we go on to lap 13. Or lap 12, sorry, not lap 13. And
Tiny, there's been contact, Tiny and Prodigy. Prodigy's round.
And he's now going to lose a few more places here, going to lose a place to his teammate and lose the place to Coix Gamer, and he's going to end... Is he going to lose the place to Coix Gamer here, actually? Maybe he is, as Coix now has the inside, trying to hold it around the outside of 1 and 2. As we go out of turn 3 and 4, inside line for him. Is Prodigy going to hold on to this here and try as much as he can inside now at turn 6 for Prodigy, switchback for Coix. He's going to try and get this place. He feels he deserves this place, but maybe not just yet as we go into turn 7 and 8, and Prodigy still in 11th after that spin.
Yep, unfortunately moving down quite a bit there from 6th position there, and yeah, unfortunately been a little bit of a downer there for him, especially since his strategy didn't work out the way he wanted it. But unfortunate in that side of things. Could we possibly see Paul Jones going for a move here on the McLaren of Ginge. You could see that light flashing away at the rear, and you could see it flashing away in the back of Chuckle as well. Oh, no, I think they two made contact there a little, the Mercedes and the McLaren.
They did indeed. They're going to go side by side now into the final corner. That's hard to pay off. It does pay off. Chuckle still maintains that second place, but for how long is Paul Jones now? It looks like he has knots in the back of that Haas and gets past. Here comes Tiny as well, to the inside of both of them. Ginge was caught unawares, and he has gone off the track. It is now down in 5th place. Tiny made contact with 2 cars in the last 2 laps in turn 1 and 2, one of them being Ginge and the other being Prodigy the last lap. And I'm sure he might be having to have a chat with the stewards after this race.
Quite possibly there. Unfortunately, like I said, coming into contact a couple of times, it's not going to be looking very good come the end of the race. Could possibly have a couple of reports going in about them, but we'll have to wait and see till after the race.
And it's a Haas 1-2 at the moment.
Yep, Haas are actually doing quite well here.
Well, as well as you can get, I suppose. It's better than quite well. It's the best you can get. I wonder if he'll be able to hold on, though. Technically, as I said, Paul Jones is leading the race. He hasn't won a race since this day, Thursday, a couple of seasons ago, when he was crowned our season 13 champion. As we go down the back straight, DRS open for the Mercedes. You see the extra green lights on the steering wheel indicating DRS is available for him, and Looney Man using that DRS to his advantage to get past the Williams here, as Lee, he tries to get past Prof on the inside at turn 14. And we haven't been here for a while, Lee, and I've certainly missed this because it's such a good racetrack for overtaking, especially down that back straight at turn 14.
Oh yeah, definitely. With the aid of the DRS, the battery, and the slipstream, it's an easy overtaking opportunity for it. And then you get excellent battles like this going into turn 1 and 2 between Prof and Lee. Prof fighting back to regain that 9th position again, and he manages to get up the inside of turns 1 and 2 on Lee. And I thought Lee was going to have a wee cheeky look there, but he doesn't. Coy X managed to get past Prodigy there for 11th place.
Yeah, he's been trying to do that the last couple of laps, hasn't he, as we get to half distance. And Taylor McKenzie very close to the back of Royal Rumble as well, as they make their way into turns 7 and 8.
Yeah, quite nicely there. Tiny actually fell out of that gap there for a split second. Whether he's got the DRS or not, I'm going to have to wait and see, as it was kind of fading in and out.
Here goes Royal Rumble and Tiny as well into turn 11, going side by side here. Is Chuckle getting close enough to Paul Jones? Not just yet, he's not. And here goes Chuck on Looney Man here, and there was a bit of syncing issue there between the two drivers in terms of internet connection, because Looney sort of phased from one side of the racetrack to the other there as we go through the final corner, and Chuck is up into 6th place. And we've just seen a driver there go off Prodigy into the pit lane.
Oh, right, I'll stay on board with him and see what's going to happen. Is he going to be getting a wing change? Or is this just pitting for another set? No, it's just pitting for another set of mediums.
So he didn't feel like they could go the distance, obviously. So the others on the mediums, they might have to pit again as well. I'm surprised he didn't stay out for another 2 or 3 laps to see if he could go on the softs to the end. But there you go, decided to go the double medium route, of course, as well. When the race starts in wet conditions, that means that the tyre rules of being on 2 different compounds goes out the window at that point, and you can use what you like at that point, whether it's just the one dry set of tyres to the very end, or using a multitude of the same compound.
Yeah, but it's only if wet weather's involved. Of course, you're still technically making a pit stop if it's split, like a split race such as this. But if it's full on wet race, then comes down to driver skill in the end.
Here goes Looney Man on the inside of Chuck here. Squeezes him out. Demands the space, as much space as he needed. And now up into 6th place. I noticed something though, the fight for second. Chuck actually kind of compromised himself. We'll talk about that in a second. His brother Chuck now to the inside at turn 1 and 2, with Pippo Kennedy behind watching the view. And it was a great view to see Chuck get up into 6th here, as he does go wide into turn 2, but gets it all sorted for 3 and 4. And once we exit turn 4, he's firmly got that 6th place. Yeah, Chuck will compromised himself into turn 14 because he actually blended out the throttle, didn't want to get past Paul Jones, but that meant that Tiny caught up to him. And so this kind of game of cat and mouse and just wanting to stay back and wait till crucial moments sometimes actually isn't the best idea, because you're just bringing other drivers into the fold and causing yourself more problems and a heavier headache as well.
Yeah, I do completely agree with that. It's one of them things that you've just got to know when is the right time, and of course sometimes drivers do end up tending to wait until the last minute. I think it was on Monday where we've seen that, and unfortunately couldn't get the pass done.
Yeah, left it too late. Chuckle again having to go defensive here. And these guys so close. I've mentioned it before in commentation. Obviously, living in the southwest of England, living in Cheltenham, of course, famous this week. Probably the most famous week for the town of Cheltenham. Of course, having the Cheltenham Gold Cup this week, horse racing, and typical there as well. Sometimes the jockey's not able to push the horses at the very end and leaving it too late, which we kind of saw on Monday, and maybe starting to see again. But these guys, as close as some of these horses are, it can be on Gold Cup Day tomorrow. But yeah, maybe that's where I got my love of racing from, but the wrong kind of racing.
As they say in Scotland, nae bother. So, Taylor McKenzie right close to the back of Royal Rumble here. Could see him possibly eyeing up a move in the closing moments here of the lap. But having a wee look further up, we've seen these 4 at the front still quite close together, all within a second of each other. Chucked back from Ginge by 4 seconds, and he's got to defend from an Alfa Romeo and an Aston Martin.
And I don't think Tiny got DRS that time around. I think he was behind. He wasn't within 1 second. He was just out of it right at the crucial moment. And Chuckle now free to attack on Paul Jones as the clouds begin to break and the sun comes out here in Shanghai. And the track temperature will start to come up, and the drivers will potentially feel a little bit more grip underneath them.
Yep, the most likely we'll start feeling that, of course, when the track starts ramping up in the heat. The tyres will generally start to get a bit more grippier.
I think we are going to see another round of pit stops before the end, because Looney Man now decided to come in, and I think he's done what I said, done those few extra laps, and is now going to go onto the red-banded soft tyre, which he is indeed.
I'm unsure. I'm unsure if they'll be able to go 10 laps. It's going to be kind of pushing it, I think, a little. But we'll be able to wait and see how things are going to pan out for Looneyman and Koyaks.
Yeah, Koyaks as well, pitting and getting out just ahead of Perm-Bowden. Yellow flag, who's that for? GT Ord, I think, for some reason.
Yeah, no idea what was happening there, but Ginge could be looking for a move on Tiny here, as Tiny's not going to have the DRS from Chuckle ahead in the Mercedes.
Yeah.
Chuckle not going to be close enough to make a move. Ginge, he's got the DRS, he's got the slipstream, has he got the later break-in? He's not going to be too close. Not close enough to be able to make a move.
nor is Pippa Kennedy actually, as he locks up trying to attack
Lee.
Chuck as Paul Jones now comes into the pits and starts that chain reaction for the drivers at the front, and they know, of course, they're on for a race win because our driver on the top spot at the moment is a reserve driver, and now Pippa Kennedy up into 5th, and Pippa actually might be one of the only ones not having to make another pit stop and doing this longer route, the long game of going on the hardest tyre and hoping that everyone else will...
Taylor Mackenzie in Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Taylor battling out, they're side by side there, going around turn 1 and 2 there. Taylor Mackenzie had that outside line and just swooped in, and it looks like he's managed to get the move done going around turns 3 and 4. Absolutely beautiful, but it looks like Royal Rumble's going to be fighting back. He's going to have the inside line for turn 6. Oh, a little bit of contact there with the rear right of Taylor Mackenzie. Royal Rumble actually going off the track with that slip of traction there, getting a bit too greedy there with the throttle. That ends up costing them a bit more time. But he's going for it here on the inside of turn 9, and Taylor Mackenzie just squeezes him out that little bit. Can Taylor Mackenzie get out of this DRS window and get away from him? But I don't think so. I think the Royal Rumble's going to manage to stay within that. He's 7/10, sir, to the car ahead. Is he going to be able to manage to make this move coming down here? I don't think he will. See Taylor Mackenzie going over to the right hand side and then to the left. I think that is a little bit frowned upon.
It's not too bad. He was just trying to break the toe, did the one move, but it was too okay.
But
it was nothing drastic, was it? It was nothing ridiculous.
Fair.
Who's in the pits there? Royal Rumble now making his way in, and on the hard tyre, someone
Jones.
pitting.
Paul Jones absolutely dusting it past Taylor Mackenzie there, and you can see the difference already in them old mediums to them fresh softs. It's like night and day. Like as you like to say, having a look at the grip levels, and look at that. Paul Jones has already made a 1.2 seconds now gap within just a few corners, and now Prodigy going up the outside of Taylor Mackenzie going into turn 6. And he manages to get it done without breaking himself just that little, but with fresher medium still manages to get the car turned a bit quite quicker compared to Taylor Mackenzie.
Yeah, Quakes Gamer as well, close to Chuck, but has been struggling throughout to get overtakes done, just showing that, I know he's pit again, but Pippa Kennedy on that one set. Jundy Sunday in the comments saying that Ginge is going to struggle pushing those tyres to the very end to do another 8 laps on them, that's for sure. Any drivers who are watching or any viewers who are watching me driving Burnt Rubber Racing on a Wednesday night and are interested in RTG, it's PlayStation only. If you want to join the league, the Discord link is in the description of the YouTube channel, so if you want to join, obviously PlayStation only league, I know the other is crossplay, but if any of you are on PlayStation want to join, get involved in RTG on a Monday, 8 o'clock, and Thursday, 8 o'clock for the second tier of GP2, which we're watching, of course, right now. And yeah, it's certainly interesting. I'm sure the drivers on the hards are going to be able to get to the end, but Paul Jones working wonders on those soft tyres at the moment and just taking so much time out of others. So I'm wondering whether the 2-stop, since it's been dry, is going to be quicker. It's looking like that might be the case.
Yeah, well, to second place, he's looking at about 15 seconds, 14 seconds. He's looking at to Chuckle.
And have a look, Lee, obviously on your screen, so it doesn't interrupt the feed. What was Paul's last lap time? What was sort of Robbo and Chuckle's last lap time on lap 20, just to give us some idea of how much he's catching?
133.6 was Paul Jones's time, and we'll do it to say Robbo, who's been the quickest overall to now, a 136.6.
So 3 seconds a lap faster, is that right?
Yep. For Chuckle, it's a 138.3. So if he keeps on managing to keep going at this rate, he's going to catch them easy peasy, lemon squeezy Prodigy. There we go, definition of easy peasy. Manages to get past Lee. Easily done with that DRS there. And now he's up into 7th place now.
And I think Ginge now really is committing to staying out and sticking with it to the end. I think that's really what it's starting to look like from my perspective. I don't know if you agree, Lee, but he's getting too late in the day now to get on the softs and try and get the, be on the hunt and catch his prey, because it's not got enough time in the day to do that.
Yeah, and like the person in the comments said that it's the hards will come back near the end, to be honest, but I think they're going to be, the hards are going to be able to last to the end, and not by a lot though, but mediums, Ginger is going to be having to peruse this course very gingerly and make sure he doesn't blow a tyre if he's going to be going to the end.
Yeah. That will become an issue for him. In the last lap or so, Paul Jones has gained 4 seconds on Pippo Kennedy as Chuckle trying the switchback on Tiny here in defence and actually just clipped the back of that Ferrari, and Tiny now up into 2nd, which subsequently will be 1st in the rules of RTG. His reserves get pulled out, which Robbo is one of those. So unfortunately for him, if he does finish where he is right now, the win won't actually count. Of course, it will for him, but in terms of the stats after this race, it would be Tiny at this very moment who would be winning. And these three all know it as well, as Ginge here trying to slot that Papaya McLaren to the inside there at turns 2 and 3. But the All Black Mercedes able to get the traction on the exit, as they know as well. Paul Jones is going to be hunting them down, and actually he's not very far away now. He's just about to come into the hairpin as they've exited it. I think Lee's put himself on mute again, guys.
Yep. Oh no, I just pressed the wrong button there. But yeah, so looking at it right now, let's see what his last lap time was. Have a wee quick look and see it was 134.7, so he's a bit off the pace from his lap on his lap 20 lap time.
Yeah. But in comparison to 2nd, 3rd and 4th, I'm assuming still going a lot faster than them, especially Ginge, I would imagine.
So Chuckle was 137.9, Tiny 137.1, and Ginge 136.9. So Ginge is actually still quicker than the hard guys up to now.
Sorry, Lee. Looney Man here getting past RTG Lee, now trying to go around the outside of Chuck and trying to get 2 places there in a spectacular effort, but one will have to do for the time being. He may be able to get the 2nd at the end of this straight, but seeing how much faster Chuck was out of the final corner, that's not looking like that's going to be the case, but still, that was fantastic. And as we see week in, week out with RTG, the racing's so good. And as Jundy Sunday said, he's a PC player, but he'd love to join RTG. I'm assuming by watching the streams that the races are very, very good from RTG week in, week out. So at least come and watch along, Jundy, for the foreseeable future. It's nice to see you guys taking an interest in our streams, that's for sure, and taking interest in this guy Paul Jones, because I don't think it's over yet, and he knows it. But the clock is ticking down, lap times coming down, and his lap times are actually starting to fall off now as well, as the grip's starting to go away from those soft tyres now. So, but he's almost within DRS range of Pippo Kennedy.
Yeah, he's down to the 135 now. He's still about 2 seconds quicker than the cars ahead. So it's going to be a bit of a tough one. He's going to have to try and keep that a little bit of battery left and keep some life in them tyres. And that ain't going to help him, as he was almost drifting going into turn... well, that's what it looked like to me anyways. If I was on board the week, he was drifting going into turn 14 there.
No,
the tail end.
turning left to go right isn't the fastest way to go.
Yeah, maybe on dirt it might be, but not here.
As we're seeing two drivers here fight at that turn 14 again, and we've seen them lap in, lap out. As Taylor McKenzie still trying to hold on. Now got the opportunity as Royal Rumble went wide, gets himself a 3-second time penalty as well for the privilege of going off the track. Stays with it for now. He's got the penalty, but then Taylor McKenzie swooping around the outside at turns 1 and 2, and now up into 13th place and getting a better point scoring position. And Paul Jones now within DRS of Pippo Kennedy. And I'm starting to pretty much rub my hands together here, Lee, because this is going to be a very interesting last couple of laps. And Paul Jones has definitely brought the excitement to the table for the last few laps.
Yeah, but it's one of them. I think he may have put a little bit too early. I mean, Ginge still actually going really nicely on medium compound tyres, and he's only going to have, what, 3 more laps after this in order to accomplish that and actually manage to get a podium out of this.
Oh, Paul Jones almost locked up and went straight on there. It's allowed Pippo Kennedy to maybe come back a little bit. Maybe. Not just yet. Now, Lee, he's looking down the sights. He's got them in his crosshairs. Those 3 drivers all going into turn 1 are only 500 metres ahead of him at this point and 3 seconds ahead.
Yep, they are not far ahead, and you could see it, and it's just getting lower and lower. It's already down at 2.6 seconds now, and, well, 2.5, 2.4, and it's just getting ever smaller and smaller.
This is the point in the lap now, sector 2, through this S section, into turns 9 and 10 and 11, where he's going to make up all the time, and he needs to. These next couple of laps are crucial, this and the next, because he needs to be in line of sight to try and get some overtakes done on lap 27 and the final lap of 28. And really, he needs to be within DRS. He needs to be within DRS on this lap, and it's so close, but not close enough. It was 1.019 of a second when he went over the detection point. He's not going to have DRS down here, and he's within half a second of Ginge, who is now starting to fall off. Oh, he does get the DRS. Apologies, he does. And Ginge's tyres now seemingly are falling off a massive cliff.
Yeah, they're certainly looking like they're screwed now, and yeah, he could possibly even catch these guys just up at the front. He's going for the move here. He's going to have the outside line going into turn 1, and Ginge, it doesn't even look like he's really going to fight it.
Oh, it almost looked like he was going to, though. And I tell you what, Lee, this is getting very exciting. This could be one of the most exciting finishes to a race we've seen. Even if it doesn't really happen, we've got to keep an eye out for Tiny and Chuckle as well. We haven't really given them much credit just yet. They've been cruising at the moment, and they know that they're kind of worried, I suppose, with what's coming up behind them now, and at a hell of a rate. And are we going to say, 8 laps on the softs, 21 laps on the hards? They're sort of going to be coming together at the sort of grip levels at this point, aren't they? It's going to be almost even Stevens as we get a yellow flag, and that, I think, is for Perm Bowden, who is in 17th and last at the moment and hasn't had the greatest of races. I'm sure Chuckle now as Paul Jones gets into DRS range, and this, ladies and gents, just remember Robbo is a reserve. He'll get pulled out once this race is completed. This fight now isn't for second, it's for the lead, it's for the 3rd win of the season. Who is going to take that win? Tiny's got one to his name, so is Pippo Kennedy, but it doesn't look like he's going to be winning one. Is Chuckle going for the lead? Here he is. They make contact with each other. Tiny goes off the road and spins around, does a 180, and now it looks like it's between Chuckle and Paul Jones for this win in China. And now Paul Jones has DRS, hasn't had a win since season 13. Is it going to be our multiple 6-time world champion Chuckle Chuckle, or our season 13 champion, Paul Jones, who is going to see the checkered flag first? Who's your money on, Lee, in this Gold Cup week of betting?
Well, right now it looks like Paul Jones is going to have the advantage come the back straight with DRS if he manages to keep it within the DRS range that is, and doesn't make a mistake. And Gin's been overtaken by Purple Kennedy. Is Gin's going to be able to come back with the aid of DRS? I don't think so, but judging by this on track, it's going to be a Haas 1-2, I would think.
Yeah, it could possibly, as you said, on track.
Wait a minute, Paul Jones is actually flashing red. He's in the red
on fuel. How can you be red on fuel? We've had safety car. We've had loads of laps under a safety car. That shouldn't really be possible. We've also had a VSC. We are getting close to the end. I see what you mean, though. He's only got half of a lap of fuel, so he is running low. This is it now. Down the last straight. Rear light flashing on Chuckle's Mercedes. Who's going to take the win into the final corner? We go down into turn 14. Outside line for Paul Jones. He's got to try it. He's got to stick with it. He's got to be committed. He's taken the lead spot as Robbo crosses the line. And Paul Jones takes the lead into the final corner. He wins the Chinese Grand Prix at the very end. Chuckle is second and Pippo Kennedy is going to finish third. Lee, we've been doing this for 18 months, maybe 2 years, and I don't think I've seen a better finish than that.
No, that was absolutely spectacular there. Paul Jones just managing to come back and clinch it right at the end. Absolutely amazing drive from him. I would go as far as say that'd be driver of the day for me anyway. Absolutely smashing there from him. And, well, Chuckle, Pippo, Gin's all done amazing as well, battling out constantly, seeing the time up there for the top. Then Koyak's unfortunate with that pit stop there during that safety car at the start of the Grand Prix. Was that lap 5?
Yeah, amazing. I agree with you, Paul Jones, driver of the day for me as well. Honourable mention, though, this man, Pippo Kennedy, falling all the way to the back, Lee, and actually getting on the podium. Hats off to him. I think if Paul Jones hadn't got that at the end, he would have been our driver of the day. Yeah,
but definitely. And even you agree with on that one. Driver of the day does go to Paul Jones there. We'll see them out on the podium in just a moment. Got Paul Jones, Chuckle and Pippo Kennedy there. Brilliant race from them three there. So Paul Jones managing to get the max points from the race, that is, with getting the fastest lap also, and absolutely smashing there on the softs to come to the end. Gets the win there. Chuckle in second. Third was Pippo Kennedy. Ginge was fourth. Tiny fifth. Chuck was sixth. Seventh was Looney Man. Koik Skamer was eighth. Ninth was Lee. Then it was Prof. Royal Rumble in eighth. Taylor McKenzie in 12th. GT Ord was 13th. 14th was Super Striker. And Perrin Bowden was 15th. Robbo, he was a reserve and he retired at the end. And Prodigy, he done the same at the end. But so the only DNF was Danny, unfortunately, who did not make it to the end of the Grand Prix.
Now, everyone that was watching along, Jundy, I think, enjoyed that, watching that for, I don't know how long he was watching it for, he's definitely watching the last half. But if you did like that, I think out of all the races we've ever done, that deserves a big like on the video for that one. I've got to go and have a cup of tea, sit down and calm down after that one, that's for sure. Anyway, yeah, we'll be back on Monday night for GP1 and Burnt Rubber Racing next Wednesday, and we'll be back again for GP2 next Thursday, and hopefully we'll have some great races like we did this week. It has really been a very good week of racing on RTG TV. Like I said, keep subscribing to the channel. If we get to 400 subscribers before F124 comes out, as I said, I will personally get made and pay for some merch for either Burnt Rubber Racing, RTG TV, or just RTG, whichever. So make sure you keep hitting that subscribe button, and whether you guys from those 3 leagues, or 3 league days, should I say, we'll be getting yourself some merch at random. Might get Lee to pick it, actually. But that's only if we get to 400 subscribers. So keep pressing the button, hit the like button, share the videos with your friends, especially that one, especially the end of that. Everyone needs to see that, I think. Until next Monday, it's goodbye from me and from Lee.
Peace out.